plane to go over. Go away, plane. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is a new monthly episode of SPR Monthly, where we show you the goings on of the garage in a month and show you some Mercedes faults and fixes. Anyway, today I'm already in the car that we're going to start with. I am in a 129 SL 320, quite a nice car, blue exterior, blue leather seats with the two different colour codes. So the problem I've got with this 129 SL is ignition lights come on, turn ignition, watch it start now. No, it still doesn't start. Turn ignition to the start position and the car doesn't start. This fault is happening intermittently, so it doesn't happen all the time. It seems to be more when it's cold. Let's take you underneath the car, well, underneath the dashboard where the ignition is. I'm filming this on my own, so it's quite difficult, but these cables here are the cables that come out of the back of the ignition switch. As you can see, somebody has been in here before. Lots of the wires have been chopped and spliced and stuff. I would have thought it's probably had an aftermarket alarm system fitted at some point in its life and then removed, hence why all the wires have been joined back together. This wire here, this purple wire, is the starter feed cable. So basically, when I turn the ignition on, turn it to the start position, which I'm going to do now. Now, as you could see then, when I turned it to position 3, we got a live feed down the starter feed wire. However, the car is not cranking over. I've got a lot of stuff off this car. I've been digging around, hunting around, and somebody's been poking around at this before by the looks of things. So under the bonnet, these cars are well known for wiring looms. They have biodegradable wiring looms on them. I've followed the wire round to the starter motor. A lot of the insulation that protects the wire has disappeared. So I think the wire is shorting out somewhere, because when I do the same test down at the starter motor, I am not getting my 12 volt feed. However, if I do a continuity test from the starter to the switch, I am getting continuity, but whether it's not good enough basically. So I think what I'm going to do is run a wire from the ignition switch all the way through the bulkhead, round the back of the engine, down to the starter motor, to completely rule out that bad wiring that I'm not happy with. It's a temporary fix. It's going to get the car starting again, but really the car needs a wiring loom. So to get it started for now, what we're going to do is turn the ignition back on, take our probe. Here you can see some of the exposed wiring. I'm just going to see if I can probe that with one hand. And then we've got the car started. Right, finally, I've ran a wire. Put my camera down. One-man band today. Wired the wire in, so we've completely bypassed biodegradable feed, I'll call it. Straight from the ignition, straight to the starter motor. This is a temporary fix. Ideal world, it needs a new wiring loom. I have neatened up all the wiring underneath coming out of the switch. The wiring I showed you before is how I found it, so I've just made it look a bit neater. I've taped off the original wiring and left it in its original position, so if somebody ever has future issues, I've tried to leave it pretty self-explanatory what I've done. I've routed it the best way possible using all the original grommets and stuff. This is the first start up. So ignition on, car's in park. Happy days. So no lights on the dash. Obviously we'll continue to test it throughout the day, but it's actually not started once today. I've used the same colour wire as the original. Again, just makes it easier for somebody looking at it in the future. I've tried my best to make it look as original as possible. I've got to put all the trims on underneath, bit of a vacuum up, bit of a tidy up. Pretty happy with that. I'm glad to get the customer back on the road because it was just so unpredictable for him. Be interesting to know what you think of that in the comments. Let us know, would you be happy with that repair? I say it's a temporary repair, it'd probably do as a permanent repair, but the wiring loom's not going to get any better, so more things are going to become problematic as the years go on. But for now, that'll keep him going. 129 SL specialist today, so I'm going to get this one back together, get it out. I'll show you what trouble I'm having with the other one. Right, on to the second 129 SL. We have got a sidelight issue. So you'd probably think that that's a simple issue. There's a sidelight not operating. It's a bulb. In this case, it's not. We've took the bulb out, set a multimeter up. Oh. Hello. So you'd think that's quite a simple fault. Sidelight not working, bulb not in this case. We've took the bulb out, we've set up a multimeter at the bulb, and we're getting fluctuating voltage. Sometimes it's 12 volts, sometimes it's 2 volts, sometimes it's 5 volts.
A few moments later.
So I've lost where I am then. So multimeter is set up with the sidelight bulb. As you can see, the voltage is fluctuating up and down, up and down. It's just doing whatever it likes, to be honest. This system is quite advanced for an old car. So 129 SLs and other Mercedes of this era had a bulb monitoring system, which was probably first of its kind. This control unit here is the bulb monitoring system control unit slash power supply to all the bulbs. We think that is what is at fault. We have put a test one in it out of a 126, which regained us a sidelight, but something else failed on the car elsewhere because we had the wrong one, but it was a good way of testing. So light control units, let's get this out, let's get the new one in and see if we get our 12 volts back. New control units fitted, and as you can see, we've now got 11 volts. Now these control units are no longer available, you can't buy them anymore, so we've had to go down the second-hand route. Because they're not available anymore, second-hand ones are fetching quite strong money. Let's stick a bulb in it and see if we've regained power, because when we did have battery voltage on the last control unit, as soon as we put the bulb in, it disappeared. So it can quite easily catch you out. This sidelight is now working again. I thought I'd just demonstrate this because you could quite easily get caught out when looking at this, and this technology was quite advanced for such an old car, so might help a 129 owner out at some point. Another one done. It's cold, it's cold, it's cold. Right, a bit more on the monthly. It's been a while since I've picked up the monthly camera, since whatever you've just watched, because we've been concentrating on Matt from High Peaks S-Class, so all my videoing has been on that. Anyway, back on the monthly vlog, I have a CL500. Quite a simple fault, yet common fault, and potentially could be avoided, this fault. This is an expensive problem that can be avoided. So basically the problem is, heater's on, full speed, and as you can hear, absolutely nothing is coming out. Zero. So we've got no heater fan whatsoever. Not good at this time of year. The weather is terrible. So first thing we need to do is gain access to the blower motor, which I've done off camera.
and get out some test equipment. We need to test power going to the relay resistor and also coming out of the resistor to the fan. So quite a simple test that we're going to do now is we've got the blower motor down, we've got it plugged in to the resistor which regulates the fan speed and plugged into the car. We've got the car on speed setting number 7, which is the fastest speed. And as you can see, we're getting battery voltage down out of the resistor down to the fan, but the fan isn't doing anything at all. So that should be going round, but it isn't. We are also getting power going in. So that's power going into the resistor. So we've tested it going in and coming out. We've also tested these 2 smaller wires up here, which are the communication wires. That determines what speed to regulate coming out of here and to here. So now I've got the blower motor out of the car. You can see all the mud and crud in there. You can see how rusty the motor is. Basically, there's a lot of signs of water damage here. Same with the resistor. Here's a way to potentially avoid this happening. So as you can see, the scuttle panel on top of the car where all these leaves are, this drain here is blocked. That's supposed to go down there. Now that is blocked. It's allowed water to fill up too high and come in the heater box, which is inside that grill down there, and then it flows into the car and damages your heater blower. So we've got ourselves a genuine blower motor and voltage regulator for the fan speed, both been submerged in water. So we're going to replace both. We're going to just plug it in, a little test pilot before we refit it. Check all the pins for any corrosion. It's all plugged in. Go through the different fan speeds. Full speed. Back down. So now it's just a case of getting it refitted, getting it all bolted back in. We're going to change the cabin filters at the same time. I'm going to show you how blocked they are as well, and they're also wet. The stuff that's left on the mat is unbelievable. So blower motor, resistor, cabin filters, just get proper ventilation back in the car. Can't really show you much what's going on under here because it's a bit of a tight squeeze. So that's the blower motor all back in place. It's a right fiddly job. You got to literally fold yourself in half to get under the dashboard. This is all the stuff that's fell out of the cabin filters, which go in there. Massive difference to the new ones to the old ones. They're completely blocked. As you can tell by looking at this, this isn't a car that we service, because we replace cabin filters every B service. They've not been done for a very, very long time. See all the water stains on it as well. After all that, change key for batteries on the dash. I'm actually out of breath doing that. Lying underneath the dashboard upside down is not nice. Mild please mate. Just doing our Friday chippy order. As you can see, I've tidied all the scuttle panel, removed all the leaves, unblocked the drains, I've blown some air down the drains. Obviously I know that people haven't got an air line available, but you can pour water down them, make sure the water's coming out the bottom. Yeah, if you park under a tree or it's this time of year, when you go out to your car, just pick them up, get rid of them, because all it takes is one leaf to cover your drain, and that's it. It's like a guttering system, exactly the same as your house, and that's it. That is this one done. All nice and clean. It's actually cleaner than when it came in, but you can't leave all that mess on the floor, can you? Yeah, so that is this one done. I'm going to have to now pop a key fob battery in it, because last thing I want is customer to collect it and say, oh, it weren't on when I dropped it off. That's the usual favourite. So to save that conversation, let's go and put a key fob battery in. But yeah, I think we could probably class that as tip of the month. Now that is any Mercedes, that is just any car. If you park under a tree, or you know, you've just come out to your car one day because you've been somewhere and it's full of leaves, get them off. Just get them off. If you've got a jet wash at home, you can blast them off, pick them off with your hands, just get rid of them. In this instance, some leaves off a tree have cost about £600 in parts alone. Cabin filters, which I couldn't not replace them. I've got to take them out to do the job. I bet this job is 700 or 800 quid. So get the leaves off your car, it could save you some money. Right, with that one done out of the way, thought we'd just show you what's going on in the garage. We have got one of our courtesy cars, the good old faithful smart car. It's getting quite old now actually. I think it's 2007, so it's quite old. Does the job. Receive a lot of complaints about it, but it is what it is. You can get an Uber, taxi, train, bus, all these things, or you can take our free smart car. It's a good laugh. I enjoy it. I drive an E63 and I enjoy driving it, so I don't know what the big deal is. Anyway, thought I'd quickly show you this one. So we're doing our annual service on it. Even though these are our loan cars and they don't do an awful lot of mileage, I'm always like no expense spared on these cars. The service history is ridiculous. As you can see, we've got the full front end of the car off. This car today is having a B service, which is oil and filter, air filter and a cabin filter. It's also having a fuel filter, which is an extra. Anyway, the full front end of the car is off, so it is looking in a very sorry state, and that has been removed because that is where the pollen filter sits. So to fit a pollen filter on one of these, you've got to take the whole front bumper off. As you can see, there is the old one. It's definitely due for replacement, getting a bit brown. Want to keep the air in the cabin as nice as we can. But yeah, what a big job just to change the pollen filter. Not something many people do because of what you have to do to get it off. It actually looks quite cool without the front bumper on. So yeah, I thought a couple of you might find that a little bit interesting. Front bumper off to change the pollen filter. And then we'll catch up soon, see what else we've got going on in the monthly. So at this stage in the video, we normally do a bit of a car park tour and what's going on in the garage. But I've just got back from the accountants and all the roads closed. We've had a bit of a disaster outside. Got to show you. So yeah, I only nipped out for an hour, and Dan rang me on the way back to say, don't come this way back. All the roads closed. No one can get in and out. Well, we can get in and out. It's just you've got to go the very, very long way round. No idea how long that's going to be like that, and it's going to cause chaos in the mornings, chaos at night, chaos for customers coming and leaving. People are going to be, yeah, it's just not ideal. But that looks like it's going to be a big old repair. And how long does it take to fix something like that? So while we're at it, we'll have a bit of a car park garage tour at the same time. John is just finished actually. I wanted to film this, but I had to go out and then I had to come back to the hole. E63S Estate, very nice car, V8 twin turbo, has come in for a misfire. It had an intermittent misfire on cylinder 5. We've diagnosed it down to a coil pack. Customer wants a full set of coil packs replacing, as coil packs are quite common to fail on this engine. One coil pack does 2 cylinders, so 4 coil packs in total. The coil packs are £200 each, plus VAT, £1,000 in parts, plus the labour. And I can assure you, these are not simple to change. They are not straightforward. It's a good half a day's work, taking your time, easy. You've got a water-cooled ECU in the way, you've got wiring harnesses in the way, you've got fuel lines in the way. We've actually shown on the channel previously doing an E63S spark plugs, and it's quite a big job, but he's just going to get that one finished up. On the ramp next door to the E63S, we have got classic, it's not a classic, but it's going to be, W204 C63. Reese is on this one. Reese is repping the winter merchandise. Get your hats. I've got some good news on the merchandise actually, which I'll be revealing later in the video, so make sure you stick around for that. Really good news. Reese has diagnosed and replaced this suspension arm. The ball joint on the end had a really excessive play, so he's getting a bad knock from the passenger side. That suspension arm is currently on factory back order. You cannot get one. Luckily I had one in stock because I sell these on our website. I had one of the last ones in the country. So lucky for this customer that we had one. Those arms are £440 each, and they are specifically for the W204 C63. They don't fit anything else. You cannot fit a normal C-class arm. So AMG specific, £440 plus VAT. Call that 500 quid plus labour plus tracking. You all know my motto, AMG all money gone. Unfortunately, we had more bad news on this car, but we didn't realise this until after we fitted the arm, so I had to call the customer again and tell him we've come across a problem, which I don't really like doing because it makes things a bit awkward, but luckily really good customer, fully understands the situation, which I will show you now. So when we've gone to undo the tie rods, you can't really tell very well, but the threads on the tie rods are just completely rotten. There's hardly anything left of them, so we can't move it basically. So we've had to ring him back and quote for track rod ends and inner tie rods to enable us to track it correctly. We've done one side already, but we're waiting on the other side to arrive. Mercedes sent us half of our order that we'd ordered. Again, the track rod end and inner tie rod is C63 specific. Now we ordered 2 tie rods and 2 track rod ends. Mercedes forgot to send us one of the tie rods, so we've had to ring the customer again and delay him for the 3rd time. First off, we delayed him because what we needed them, and now I've had to ring him again and say they've not completely arrived. Customer's not having a good time with us really. He's been great, to be honest. He is a customer. You know, it is what it is, but you know, we don't do these things purposely. I'll see if I can show you better on the old tie rod that I've cut off. You can see there, there's just no threads left. They've just completely rusted, rotten away. Unfortunate for this customer. Saying that, if I didn't have the arm in stock, we would have been sending the car back with his knock, and we would have had to place an order for an arm, and it would have been weeks, months, could be next year until you get one of those arms. So although it's been a faff, he's done quite well that we had an arm in stock. Really nice car this, really nice colour, amazing colour. You don't see many in this colour. Expensive do. AMGs are expensive, aren't they? If anybody's wondering why we didn't replace spark plugs whilst we did the coil packs on the E63, it's because it's recently had spark plugs a couple of months ago, so that's why we're not changing those. Outside we've got a CL500. Really good looking cars, these old CLs, however extremely expensive to keep maintained. They are getting old now, parts are really expensive. Still a good looking car. That is having a gearbox cooling pipe, nothing too exciting there. We'll have a look at that when it's on the ramp if we have time. Next to it we've got Matt from High Peak's W140 S-Class, which we've just done a video on, so if you haven't seen that, make sure you go and have a look at that. The S-Class video's done really well actually, so thank you everyone for watching that. See what's going on in the Shed of Doom. So what have you been up to today, Nathan?
Hold the mic
with my spanner.
Been doing brake pipes all around on this 204 C-Class coupe. Driver's front burst. The rears weren't in the best of condition. Best off doing the full set with brake flexes. First time doing brake pipes. Yeah, so not too bad, I don't think.
So Nathan's done a full set of brake pipes on this, which is quite a big job. You've got to take all 4 wheel arch liners out. The brake pipes go over the top of the rear subframe. The front brake pipes, the passenger side front's easy to do. The driver's one goes across the scuttle panel where the wipers mechanism sits to the pump. So we've not joined anything, it's had all brand new. And what happened with this was we took it for an MOT. They put the car on a brake tester and they have to apply the brakes really hard, and the brake pipe actually burst on the brake tester. Now we've had this happen a couple of times, and a few customers have been like, oh well, it was all right when it came in, like you've burst it, you've broke it, blah blah blah. We have to, well, not us, we don't actually do MOTs, but the MOT station has to apply the brakes that hard. It's part of the test. Are the brakes efficient enough? Can the brake pipes withhold the pressure that they're applying? I'd much rather a brake pipe burst on a brake tester at the MOT station than I would trying to do an emergency stop at 70 mile an hour. So I'm just helping Nathan bleed the brakes. So for any garages watching, we get loads of phone calls about these. When they burst a brake pipe, if you're just replacing a brake pipe, I don't seem to have this problem. If you burst a brake pipe, just pressure bleeding it doesn't get you back a good brake pedal. So this is a quick demo of what we do. We are on the brake pressure bleeder set to 2 bar, which is normal, but just bleeding it like that won't get you a good pedal, we find, and this is the only way we can get a good pedal. So at the same time as it's on the pressure bleeder, Nathan's down at the caliper with the bottle. I'm also going to pump the brake pedal as though we're bleeding it old school, but when the pedal gets right to the bottom, I also give it a really, really hard press at the same time with 2 feet, like my back's really hard against the back of the seat. Press it really hard and then off nice and slow, press it down nice and slow, and then all the way to the bottom again, and then press really hard and then off, and then repeat the process all the way around the car. We always start at the driver's side rear because that's the furthest brake pipe away from the reservoir. People always presume you do the furthest caliper away, but it's actually the furthest brake pipe. So yes, the reservoir is on the same side as the where we're bleeding from, but the brake pipe runs across the front to the ABS pump, down the left hand side of the car, then back across to the driver's side rear. So that is the furthest one away. So give this a good bleed now, hopefully get a good pedal, and then it's a case of getting it back to the MOT station. But yeah, if you have a car that bursts a brake pipe whilst it's at the MOT station, I'd kind of be quite thankful that it's happened during its yearly checkup on the MOT brake tester than trying to perform an emergency stop on the road and causing an accident. It's not an ideal phone call for any garage. We don't like making those phone calls, but yeah, think about that one. The good news cups, pen. Alright, what should we start with? Right, we've made it to the end of this monthly vlog. I haven't filmed much this month, as you probably gathered if you're at this point. Usually we like to make them about 40-45 minutes, but it's not to be the case this month. Just been too busy, had loads on, and yeah, you get what you're given. It's free content at the end of the day, but I'm sure somebody somewhere has learnt something or had a laugh. So as always on our monthlies, we give a bit of a thank you out to whoever's sent us something in. This, I opened these by accident. I like to open them on camera. I've opened them, but I've not took the lid off, so I've not tucked into them yet. But that is from John and Jane, I think.
yeah, John and Jane. Thank you very much, John and Jane, for sending me a massive jar of toffees. I'm sure they bought them that big to share, but I'm not going to share them. I'm going to keep them on my desk just for me. Another package, which I haven't opened purposely, because it has come all the way from Australia, from Mr. Watkins. Oh, Glenn Watkins from Australia. Now, I've sent stuff to Australia before, and it costs a fortune. So much so I'd just never probably send anything to Australia again. Anyway, so before we even open this, Glenn, thank you very much, because I just know that's cost you a fortune for the shipping, let alone the gift. I actually have no idea what this is at all.
Pretty well wrapped, isn't it?
Yeah, he sent me an email to look out for it. In fact, while I'm on the topic of emails, as you can imagine, with the channel growing, I'm getting loads and loads of emails of people asking for advice, and unfortunately I've just now got to the point where I just can't reply to them. I'm not exaggerating. If I sat and replied to the daily emails and inquiries I get each day, I would not get any work done. The bills would not be getting paid. So unfortunately I have got to the point where, without sounding rude, I've stopped replying to just general inquiries to people that aren't my customers, or I cannot work on their cars, because I literally don't have the time. If I do, I try and scroll through and reply to the odd one. As you all already know, we are currently not taking on any new clients. Again, that is not for any other reason apart from that we are at full capacity, which is upsetting quite a lot of people, but I don't really know what they want me to do apart from work ridiculous hours, which I'm obviously not prepared to do. It's funny actually, because I hadn't been to the dentist for years, and when I decided I needed to start going again, I had to go around a good few dentists until I found somebody that was taking on
New clients.
New patients. We're only a small workshop. I think people think we're like some big outfit, but we're not. Anyway, back to Glenn's package. Sounded a bit miserable, that, didn't it? Little clocks. That's centre locking hub. Oh, look at that one. That's got to be an official AMG clock. So that is... oh, you're a Formula 1.
Oh, is that off an F1 car?
Mercedes GP Petronas Formula 1 team. Mercedes F1 part left-handed nut. So that is actually a Formula 1 wheel nut.
That is really...
Do you reckon that's like... Yeah, that's why it's worn.
That'll be from our race.
Yeah, that's why it's all worn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Official Mercedes-Benz coasters. We're gathering more and more stuff for this little office, so thank you very much, Glenn. I will have them on my shelf with pride. Nathan's very jealous of my nut. Right, that's the gifts done. Thank you very much. I've had a bit of an idea, because Christmas is coming. There's no giveaway this week. That's the bad news. Bad news is there's no giveaway this week. The good news is I was thinking about Christmas sales, and everyone does like January sales and all that business after Christmas when everybody's skint and got no money. I think that's really annoying, and I think sales should be on the lead up to Christmas to help everybody out. So I've had a genius idea that we've added some merchandise to our merchandise. We've got travel coffee cups, sippy cups. One with the standard SPR logo on, and the other one with our new SPR Autos While You're In There logo on. Tried and tested in many Mercedes cup holders, and I'm sure they fit non-Mercedes cup holders. So we've added them to our shop. However, as kind of a thank you and a gift back to everybody who's watched all year, this is now our second year at YouTube. We started around this time 2 years ago. What I'm going to do is, for all purchases from now, so that is when you're watching this will be Wednesday the 25th, from now all the way until the end of January with any t-shirt, hoodie orders or clocks. We are going to give you a free cup. So any t-shirt, any hoodie, any clock, you will get a SPR travel cup. Great Christmas presents for all your loved ones. Believe it or not, last year off Mercedes, they gave me their version of this same cup, and that was my Christmas gift for my custom to them for that year. I spent over, you ready for this? I spent over £100,000. I think it's about 130,000 pounds, and that's what they gave me. They gave me a Mercedes, one of them, exactly the same cup. So I'm going to give you the exact same cup with my logo on for buying a t-shirt or a hoodie. So how about that? Yeah, so that is going to be our Christmas deal. Christmas deals. That's not bad, is it? We're fastly approaching 60,000 subscribers, so thank you to everyone who's been watching, liking and subscribing. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell button. Yeah, we'll see you on the next video. Just in the notes at the checkout, just write which one you'd like. If you don't write anything in there, I'll just sling anything in and you get what you're given. 20 odd quid on a t-shirt, you get a cup. I had to spend 125 grand to get one of them. I'm sure there's many blokes that watch the channel that would love that. I love my coffee in the morning, so much so I have a very small barista machine at home and make myself a posh coffee every morning. So if anybody's watching that sells or roasts coffee beans, please send me a sample pack. Even the good and the bad comments. A comment's a comment, somebody's watched, so thank you very much. Shouldn't really be promoting bad comments, should I?